Halcyon News. Scheduled advertisement for the following story. Remember Auntie Cleo?
Soft sour candy shell around a sweet purple berry flavored center. Subject, chew it, you can do it.
Back for a rest? Space adventuring is tiring work. Captain, an unusual wavelength is coming through Monarch's aether wave frequencies.
The Eternal is in us all. The OSI would have you believe that your place in society, indeed in the universe, is preordained. A man who works in the mines of Hephaestus, coating his lungs in mercury dust for not but a few bits a night. This fate is set in stone? When he dies young, coughing up black blood, his part in a grand plan? No, I say. Greatness is in everyone, not just those so fortunate as to have been born into prosperity.
That was unexpected and odd. Analyzing the subtextual ordering. I believe it was a type of sermon, Captain. Very zealous in origin. How can I be of assistance? May luck be with you. Of course, as I am sure you are aware, luck does not exist. But it seems to comfort humans to believe they possess good quantities of it.
hold on there. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? I knew it. See, I made what you'd call a logical deduction. You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic, us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna and halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are Sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Mr. Sandra will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor? I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tosswell poster coming in on the next Sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka, on account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you? Something else I can do for you? Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the Iconoclasts or some such. Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Ah, don't be so negative. It's what's on the inside that counts. Speaking of, you look like you could use a bottle with something good in it.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, getting so I can't tell the... Don't interrupt, it's rude. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby wraps. Shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn wrapped out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? It is a shithole. It's a free shithole, though. Plenty of ways to blaze your own trail. Folks seem to like that.
It is an admirable endeavor if misguided, and nearly impossible to achieve.
I ain't saying it's easy, but look around you. If it's impossible, it seems nobody's gone and told the people living here. Besides, the booze is good. Something about that fish oil. Cheers! Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. That's quitter talk. You want me shooting straight? Get me my meds.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? I don't have time for this.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his...
Wrap mask and painted eyes, right here.
Sir, please, I need your help. I can pay.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
Well, new business turns up at last.
Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based app?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32%...
You've often...
Clear my schedule. This... Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review?
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Sol... Now, there's no need to humor.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional, erotic, and athletic disappointments. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious. Yes, freedom is a tempting ideal.
Exactly. Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future, but the tracks the train runs on are forged from practicality.
Mr. Vicar, I don't want to be rude, but I don't think that means anything.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious...
On our terms.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar?
That's precise.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into...
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and with a Bolt 52 cartridge, of course. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance. In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to... Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it does... What can I do for you? I see. And... Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board.
You see what I have to deal with?
For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2, but back then it was known as Terra 1. As you may have noticed, this planet has... and as the other corporations... Our leadership at the time...
And how did that work?
Most regard Monarch as a lost cause, but there were others of us who saw an opportunity. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers...
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
Ms. Holcomb is our endlessly optimistic crew hand. It's good for the captain's morale.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. Oh, well, there were surely other junior executives with more open minds, though none of them had the temperament to handle the paperwork. But I was keeping my tone flat and maintaining eye contact. You weren't supposed to notice I was avoiding the subject.
This is why you've never been good with presentations, sir.
Very well. Many, many years ago, Graham Bryant and I used to be collaborators of sorts. Indeed, for all the good it did. MSI's then leadership wasn't enthusiastic. They insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Without the board, chaos would overtake the system. Working within the established order isn't a principle to snub one's nose at, Captain.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes, it'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. What can I do for you?
Hold on to your hats, children. This ride is about to get ugly.
You reckon this... smell ever goes away? Maybe the wind off the sea helps.
Anger a man of the cloth.
Nice hit! Nice one!
That's the last of them. I wonder what secrets these ruins contain.
I wonder who used to live here.
Trouble incoming! Down they go! Everyone all right?
A visitor? What an unexpected surprise! Please, come in. Come in.
I, for one, welcome a reprieve from our travels. That is, if you'll have us, kind sir.
That's the spirit. Now come in. Make yourselves comfortable. Excellent. You've arrived at just the right time. My wife is putting the finishing touches on dinner. Please, make yourself at home until it's ready.
Oh, hello there. You come for... That's nice. We had someone else over... It just gets hard to remember things. I recall moments, feelings, but the
I felt like that after my dad passed. Walked around in a haze for weeks. I'm sorry you're feeling that way too.
Other times it's like there's fog. Sorry, have we talked about this before? That's nice of you. I usually feel better after I eat. Mama said dinner...
What a pleasant surprise. And just when I was beginning to fear we'd seen the last of good company for a spell. Yet the...
Only if you give yourself over to the plan, Martha. May I call you Martha?
By all means, just make yourself comfortable. Company is always... The Eternal does not desire that we huddle and hide, crowded in by walls. We all share the spark of the divine, and we were made to spread it across the stars. Out here, we are free. And even apart from society, the universe provides for us, as your being here proves. Just that your presence here is a gift to us, and one that we don't take for granted. Look at me, prattling on as if this gravy is going to cook itself. Why don't you run along until we are ready for dinner?
Oh, hi there. That's wonderful. There was this other man who used to bring them. Not anymore, though. Mama and Papa said he came from the city. When we got sick one time, he brought those candies to make us well again. And they worked. Now we feel better than ever. He said they were making us sick. Mom and Papa got real mad at him for that. They went to have a talk with him. Afterwards, they said he wasn't coming back again.
Oh, we wouldn't want to intrude.
Hey, what are you doing in my room? Liar! You're trying to steal the...
I thought I'd seen the worst of humanity before.
I'm gonna be sick. Feels like the old bits outside of Edgewater. Used up, unneeded, left to settle into ruin.
I believe this place has seen better days.
I'll take your confession now!
Here goes nothing!
That one's done for. Everyone all right?
Look out!
That's the last of them. Yes, you caught me ruminating. What's occupying your thoughts?
Miss McDevitt used to say that plants need sulfur to grow, and here there's just tubs of it lying about.
If I fall in, you'll pull me out, right?
Nice hit! Down they go!
Don't mess with us.
Ah! Get it off! Get it off! Try me? We have your back, Captain.
I had a question about your plan, Mr. Vicker.
Of course. The cosmos is generated and directed by the universal equation, also known as the Grand...
Trouble checking in? Or you might need directions to the amenities? If you're locked out of your cabin, a replacement key costs 50 bits.
Oh, well, this is certainly a town, I think.
Want to make a run with me to Stella Bay?
My dry goods come 75% guaranteed mold-free. Or was that 75% mold-free? No rubbernecking.
This is Reginald's stuff, all right, but it looks like it. Sounds like Cheney's gone gold panning down on the river. I guess even scholars need to find ways to make ends meet in exile.
Always imagined Fallbrook would be...
Oh gosh, this is so pretty.
What do you want? Oh, hey, Vicar Max. What are you doing on Monarch? I thought scienticians ain't welcome here.
Haven't you heard? Everyone's welcome here. It's a fucking worker's paradise. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Never worked a day in your miserable life. You're just a parasite, living off my goodwill. Well, guess what? My goodwill's exhausted, along with my temper. This is the guy who told me about the book while we were in prison. I lied about finding a scholar. But I don't care about any of that anymore. I just want to inflict massive amounts of pain on this guy. Oh, he knew. Didn't you? Didn't you?
Okay, I admit it. I was tired of your high and mighty speechifying all the time. It was just a joke, I swear. I didn't mean nothing by it.
See, Captain? I've dealt with this swine before. I know how he thinks. Now, where were we? Oh, that's right. I was about to beat you. Severely.
Wait! I know who can translate the book for you.
It's too late for that. I threw away my life chasing fairy tales. Will punishing you fix any of that? Of course not. But by law, it will make me feel a whole lot better. Okay. Talk, Reggie.
It was stolen from some sort of expert on philosophism. Weird hermit lady on Scylla. My father used to deliver supplies to the mining outpost there. It's true. My father collected some extra bits on the side by diverting some of the supplies to the gal. The way he told it, he thought the book looked valuable, so he took it. Couldn't find any buyers when it turned out to not only be French, but banned as well.
Fine. We've got more important things to do anyway. I want to thank you for talking some sense into me back there with...
It has been a long time since I gave...
You're right. I owe you an apology. I've been... And even then, you saved me. You owe me nothing, I know, but I... Thank you.
Can I help you? Don't think we've spoken before. I would remember. You look, well, I wouldn't forget what you're wearing, no. Most of the freshies spend their first day in the saloon. Fresh to Fallbrook, I mean. Me? I've been here. I'm real friendly. Every day I've been here has been my lucky day. Never won so much in my... Aside from a close call during my wilderness hike, you wouldn't have heard of them. They're just a small pot of smugglers. Kept getting their spoils stolen when they went to fence them. So they hired on a merc. They didn't mind my being so talkative, or them being my first protection gig. Captain Criley, he does ask me to shut it sometimes. In fact, I probably shouldn't be flapping my gums about his crew at all. Well, Captain Criley wanted to take a pit stop. I'm the hired security, see? They pay me to guard the cargo, but right now the hull's empty. It's my first shore leave with the crew, and my maiden voyage before that. I can tell you it's been a real hoot. Look for the horns and you can't miss it. Even I saw them when we flew overhead. Massive curved stone peaks if you want to get technical. Right then.
I'll thank you to check your weapons out.
My bit carts are fully loaded and ready to be spent. Bring on the recreation.
Remember, you're looking for Ms. Malin. On an errand for the boss lady? That sounds ominous. Yeah. Ms. Malin won't like that a whit. She's not but just down the way. A 10-to-1 says she's either pouring drinks or skinning a sprat in the saloon. Word to the wise, Ms. Malin don't take kindly to interlopers. When I said sprat, I didn't mean the sort with whiskers and a tail.
Velma seem out of sorts to you? You seen Arthur today?
Uh-huh. You blind, fella? Or can you not see I'm busy? Why is it every sissy pig fucker who strolls into my town expects me to smile and shout awful friendly? Welcome to Fallbrook. Only nugget of paradise in this entire law-forsaken land. Like a void damn advert.
Crude but forthright. I admire that.
Truthfully spoken, I do aim to properly represent my aforementioned nugget of paradise. You know, I ain't heard that one before. Suppose I'll have to work harder to show you just what makes our town shine. But first, I'll need to know what brings you, stranger. Well? I'm half listening. Funny. You don't look like one of Lilia's. Sure sound the part, though. Good of you to finally haul your ass over here. Got something that's gonna require special... All right. One of my runners uncovered a cache of Alta Vitae gas, left in a lab when the board abandoned Cascadia. To extract the gas, you'll need to siphon it from the lab in Cascadia into one of your ship's fuel tanks. Totally safe. Meaning safe for me and my crew, seeing as it ain't us undertaking the risk. Do I look like one of them egghead science types? All I know is that labs use it to create plants and livestock out of local species. But it's a controlled commodity, available only to the board, so it is of high value on the dark market. Hold your thrusters. I ain't even got to the tricky part. To get to the gas, you'll need to navigate through the town, which is overrun by marauders. The lab itself has become an infested nest, crawling with manties. You gotta fight through, or figure out some other way to exterminate them. Maybe the ventilation system? Do I look like one of them egg? But it's a control... So... Clever. That's why Lilia's paying you, I take it. Now, after you clear the mantis nest and reach the storage room, All that's left is to get the gas flowing into the fuel system. The task will require someone with technical skills, or you could force it through with a plasma overload. Don't recommend that option, though, unless you want to get dead.
Load vapors into a liquid propellant tank? I think I know how to do that. No, I can do that. I think. Yes. Mostly? Definitely.
Dandy. Did I mention the gases of an Once you've got our goods, take them to the Groundbreaker. I've marked the coordinates for you to the lab in Cascadia. Use the passcode Antediluvian on the terminal to get in. But before you make your run, I could use a heavy helping hand regarding a local issue. For a fine fee, of course. Good. This particular matter of opportunity has been eating at me for a while now. There's a Borst factory on up the way, run by a man who calls himself the King. Clive Lundberg, insufferable prick. That aside, it's a business ripe for the plucking. I want it. Clear as that. Stars, I hope so. Clive Lundberg, the self-proclaimed Borst King of Monarch, is swimming in profit and drowning in his ego. He's making the only meal to be had this side of Monarch, and I'm tired of ponying up for my dinner. I want that Borst factory, owner dead or alive. And you're the soon-to-be handsomely paid son of a bitch who's gonna get it for me. Kill him, run him out. I don't rightly care for the details, so long as Clive knows resistance to me is costly and futile. Hit him where it hurts, in his gut or his production lines ought to make do. If you got brass knockers, you can shoot your way through the front gate. If you don't fancy getting shot to shit, you can try asking Duncan for a disguise. Might be another way in, assuming you're courageous enough to trek the sewers. Void if I know. Then I'd say you might care to poison the cysty pigs, doctor a few financial records, or throw a wrench in the canning machinery. Sometimes the simplest solution is the sweetest. I don't give a whit about the method or the means, just the end. It'll be more than good when you're finished. Maybe not for Clive, but for me and you, I'm sure. Oh, and if you don't fancy going in guns blazing or crawling through a sewer pipe, see Duncan in the Dry Goods and Sundry building. He ought to have an employee ID in that stash of illicit goods he keeps for select clientele. May luck be with you, since I won't be.